All right, it's a Monday, April 8th, 7 a.m., starting a new week. And I just had four charts I was starting with. For anyone that hasn't watched my stream before, what I do is I look for second entries, and I look to trade on charts where every second entry works for my profit target from the time the session opened, like yesterday. And I go for anywhere for 11 ticks or sometimes a little bit more, depending on the charts. And I just noticed that two of my charts picked up an entry that didn't work. So let's see here. So new low here, first entry, second entry, going right into the previous day close, which is a rule of mine that I won't trade right into that, and it didn't work. So it's another example of when that trade doesn't work for me. I wasn't even ready to trade yet, so I wasn't even looking at it. But I'm gonna have to find two new charts now. I still have two charts that are still good for all entries. So I'll keep my eye on those. Here's another one that's about to set up for a second entry short, maybe. First entry's already in. So we'll see here. It looks very much like a rangy kind of day. I'd measure this. Expect to go the equal distance back up to the opening price, perhaps. So again, if this sets up going into the previous day close, which is the blue line, I would not take that trade. So I'm going to look for a couple of new charts while I have some time here. All right, so back to four charts. This one would have worked. Technically, there was enough room to the previous day close to get the scalp, but I just don't like trading right into those levels anymore. You saw an example of that on the previous chart. So when it gets to around these areas, if there's an entry that trades right into it, I'll just skip them. Always a battle for me to wake up. So after a long weekend, or not even a long weekend, but just a regular weekend, to wake up at 6:30 to get here by 7. It's just always a challenge for me. I'm going to be trading my PA number 2 first. Going to trade 2 contracts on it since I have time until the next payout window. So my expectation is we are going to the opening price at the very least. And I will have to stop at about 8:45 Pacific Standard Time for about a half hour. So I'll probably leave the stream running at that time and then come back and see if it's if there's any more trades to be taken or not. So I'm just staying out of everything that's right going into this line unless it's above it. Right, this would have worked. I'm just in a tough area for me to trade. I'm just going to steer clear of that area. So as I do, I was watching some other people's YouTubes, especially streams from last week, over the weekend. And yeah, I noticed a lot of people saying that last week was rough. So I guess it just wasn't just me. So had a pretty good week. To be 4-0 for the week. I was seeing a lot of people are taking losses. Unfortunately, one of my wins resulted in like a $70 loss on PA2. So that was a bummer, but They're all zeros now, so we're just starting at this balance and trying to get there. I'm thinking about when I'm trying to go for more than 11 ticks to implement a break even +1. Like maybe when it gets to 11 or 12 ticks. But I didn't put that in yet. I'm thinking about doing it though. I think there's been a few times where, price has gone 12 through like 15 or so ticks. And I don't have the auto break even on, and it reversed and took me out of the trade for a loss when it was like only one tick away from getting to my profit target. So it's something I have to consider doing. All right. I have every expectation that price is getting at least to the opening price. That's what it looks like it's set up to do. But if it doesn't do that, this may start turning downward. I'm going to keep my eye on this. I'll take a 2-minute break here real quick, actually. All right. Hey, Saggy, how are you? I was just taking a quick minute break there, so that's why my reaction is delayed here. All right, let's see here. My mouse is stuck. There we go. All right, how you doing, Saggy? You having a good start to your morning? First trade loss, minus 120. All right, sorry to hear that. Just stay within your system, and yeah, not a great start after vacation. Yeah, nobody wants to start with a loss right away after coming back from vacation. Certainly understand that. Market's been hard. Last week you weren't trading. Market was really tough last week for a lot of people. You know, I've just been looking around. I was saying when I started on my stream today, I was looking around at a lot of different people's streams, and a lot of people had a hard time last week taking some losses. And today so far looks to be kind of a continuation of difficult trading so far for me. I had to pass up a couple of trades that were going right into the previous day close. This dashed blue line. One would have worked for the long here. Then there was one on another chart that I had to throw away that failed, going directly into it for a short. Not feeling, Saggy says he's not feeling well, so my mind is not in shape. Yeah, it's especially hard to trade if you're not feeling well. I actually recommend, if you're really not feeling well, maybe don't trade, because whatever it is, the pressure when you're trading, it just like elevates your blood pressure and everything, and then I think it makes you feel worse. It makes it harder to think. I've definitely had experiences where I tried to trade when I wasn't feeling well, and it didn't work out very well. So I try not to trade. If I'm really not feeling well, I try not to trade. Okay, this thing is just chopping back and forth. Really big bars. I'm not even on like a huge tick chart, at least not for myself. And these bars are getting really big. The last bar is 99 ticks on this particular chart. I just, I don't want to trade in this kind of chop. I'm definitely not shorting into the previous day close line from anything. So I'm just being patient. The one thing I learned from last week is, because I saw so many people had a hard time last week, is to just stay within my system. And if anything, you know, my system's built where I can get a lot of trades really fast when the chart is working and I feel like price action is good. I can take a lot of trades, you know, take every entry. But I also now can just implement, okay, the market's, you know, like for today right now, since I've started, it's just been choppy in a very small area. Yeah, I could just choose to not take trades and just wait for a better spot. And last week I was 4-0 for the week, even though I did have that one little hiccup on one of my wins where on PA2 it took a $70 loss because of a trade copier issue. but despite that, I really, for my strategy, had no losses last week. So as long as I just stay within my strategy and don't let it frustrate me when I have to skip trades because the price action is doing something like this, for instance, I'll end up in a better place than if I just start taking trades, because there's certain market conditions where my strategy is just more prone to taking losses. And I'm starting to see that. All right, I almost took this. Clearly worked real easily, real fast. Saw it a little too late though. I was looking at another chart, so. But yeah, I'm just staying patient. Also, I have no pressure for time at the moment. The pay window is passed. I have to wait another week for another pay window. And I don't have any renewals coming up immediately. So kind of wish I took this trade, but I was just talking about not wanting to trade in the chop, so it's okay. Definitely a range day so far. But we've seen these range days change real fast in the afternoons lately. Look at this. This was a range for the whole morning, and then boom. That was Thursday. Friday was a range in the morning, got that news, and then look at that, just constantly pushing up. But had some pullbacks at least that day, so I only took one trade on Friday. At least there seems to be some volume, I think. All right, so there we go. Got to that measured move that I had on my other chart. So that was my expectation. So from here, I have no bias. I gotta say too, at least my reads of the market have been pretty good lately. My reads on Friday were good. I think Thursday, if I remember right, my reads were good. Today, that measured move is on the money. And look what it does. It reaches the measured move and then pulls back right away. coincides with the opening price. Would have been another reason for me to take this long right here, because of that measured move. But I'm trying not to let my own personal bias in the market affect if I take a trade or not in an area where I feel like it could be a little dangerous. Although I suppose this one is really using that previous day close as support, so that should have given me extra confidence to jump in that trade. But it set up fast. I didn't see it till the last moment, so I just really didn't have time to get in it, even if I wanted to take it. Oh, Saggy got another loss, 129, done for the day. Sorry to hear that, bud. Yeah, I mean, market's really choppy, so definitely difficult conditions. But better to cut it off for the day now, especially if you're not feeling well. Just go rest and get a good night's sleep, and come back when you're feeling better. Would be my suggestion. You're definitely doing the right thing by being done right now. Definitely not a fun way to return from a vacation. But yeah, the market's just been tough lately. I've seen a lot of people really struggling in the last week or two. I think for me, I'm struggling just to see the market doing something where I'm comfortable taking an entry. Whereas a few weeks ago, I was just taking every entry. But it's just, I'm just seeing that market conditions are consistently doing things that I recognize as not being great for my system. So just being a little bit more careful and a little bit more selective which entries I take. Now today, I mean, there's an entry I wasn't ready to trade yet that would have lost, but I wouldn't have taken it because it would have violated my rule of trading into an important level. And there's been two trades that I could have taken that I wasn't really prepared to take either one at the time, and they both would have worked. So one of them would have kind of violated that rule. Which chart was that? It must have been a chart I'm not working with anymore. All right, so seems like it's going to go for a retest of this high at the very least, since it broke through the opening price. This thing's pushing now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the top here. So we got a high here. This one couldn't quite make the high of the day. Now we're making a run for the first retest of this high. So it'll be interesting to see if it gets rejected up here a third time or if it's able to keep going. Saggy says, my first 120 loss was because of my system. It's fine. But my second 129 loss was emotional. There was no entry, but because of my feelings, I took the loss. Yeah, I've been there before. It definitely is easier to accept the loss when it's within your system. But after you get that first loss, That's the real tricky thing, is how you react and how you trade it from that point. If you're able to keep the emotions out of it, or if you're just trying to get that back. If you're just trying to get the loss back, you're probably not sticking with your system. But we've all been there. And especially on a day when you're not feeling well, it's, you take that first loss within the system and then it sparks something in you to be like, well, the system didn't work, so I'm going to trust my gut and try to take a trade when I see something, because I think I have a reason to take it. And then that gets you into all kinds of trouble. Gets me into all kinds of trouble, honestly. The system I've been trading has been really good for keeping me out of those situations, because I literally can't take an entry unless it's a second entry. So it just removes even the possibility of my taking a trade that's not how I'm supposed to enter. I need that. Like, for me, it helps to, like, it's kind of like a guardrail. That just keeps me out of being able to take trades just because I think something. So that's been helpful for me. Sometimes it limits my ability to take trades. But overall, that's, I think, largely a good thing. All right, so we're in this area now. Didn't quite get the retest of this high. A couple points short. All right, so now we've got the retest of the high of the day. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, if it's able to keep going, or if this will be a resistance for the day and it'll stay in a range. I've got no ideas, no bias, and no potential trade here so far. Looking interesting on this chart. Definitely got a bar that looks more like resistance up there. All right, so I'm just staying patient here. Market's definitely been different. There was a time where I was getting trades within the first few minutes of me starting every day, and it was like consistently happening. There were days where I was getting like 4 trades by this time, and now I'm just, for whatever reason, the way the market's moving and the way my entries are occurring, I'm just having to slow it down a little bit. Anyone else been having trouble trading this market lately? Either more losses or just not as many trades? I mean, there are definitely entries I could have taken today, but right now I'm feeling content to have not taken them. You can see on this chart how back and forth this was, just chop zone. I mean, This tells the story really good because every bar is just up and down. On this chart, there's a little bit more separation, so I could have taken this trade with plenty of room to the top there. This one too had it. And this one, there's no trade here. Where are we at on the daily? Let's take a look. All right, so I drew out this range last week. And it's funny, I was saying on Friday how I thought the midline and the EMA would keep the price down, and it did. Closed below. Now the market's making an attempt to push higher through the EMA and through the midline. So I don't draw this kind of stuff anymore on my tick charts, but it's helpful to kind of see that on the bigger picture on the day chart. So the price is definitely stalling up here as a third attempt to go higher. So this starts pushing down. I definitely think it's probably a range. If I measure from here, it's gone more than the measured move. All right, I've got about an hour left to trade before I have to take my daughter to school, so hopefully get some movement here. Give me an opportunity. All right, so we are getting some pullback after making the new high. And for anyone that is having difficulties trading lately, at least Apex is continuing to run that 80% discount with the 1-day pass. You can use that code over here or any other. At least you're getting the best deal at the moment if you're losing any accounts, or if you're just looking to get started for the first time. And the 1-day pass is nice for anyone that can trade big enough to do that. I've been trading with less accounts than I had been in previous weeks by 2 less accounts. Saggy says, I don't know what is happening with me. I'm only thinking about that second loss. Yeah, I feel you, Saggy. The first loss that you take that's within the system, mentally is easier to accept, I think, because, you took it according to your rules and your edge, and you know that every system is not infallible. So I think mentally it's easier for us to accept it, because you go, okay, well, it fit all my rules. It fit the way I trade. And so it doesn't really make you upset with yourself, unless you made a mistake maybe. But then the second trade sounds like it was more of like an emotional trade of like trying to get the loss back, and you traded not within your system. And so then that like opens the door to like being able to beat ourselves up, or, get angry with ourselves that we're not trading according to our system now. And yeah, we've all been there. I mean, I've definitely been there. It's very frustrating. And it's more of an emotional thing. But if you think about it, it's also the reason you did it in the first place was because you took your first loss. So even though you were willing to accept it in terms of like, it was your system and it just lost, and, it makes sense, that we all know that happens sometimes, but it could be very frustrating on our psyche when we allow ourselves to take a trade that's not the system after that. But you wouldn't have done that if you didn't have that first loss, But you also said you're not feeling well today, so that never helps. For me, I'm just real hesitant right now. Over the past couple of weeks, my hesitation has grown stronger and stronger. And I got to work on that part of my trading. But I think the market has also just been tougher lately, so trying to be a little bit more careful with it. But I also think, definitely the PA being close to Payout qualification has definitely made me struggle a little bit more in just being able to commit on taking trades. Here's a trade I'm supposed to take according to my system, but again, just hesitant, choosing to skip it. But there's a first entry here, and this is a second entry above this inside bar. It's not a great looking setup, but I'm not supposed to care about that if the chart is working, but I just have a weird feeling about it, so it's keeping me out of the trade. Looks like it's going to go on to work. It's gone to, okay, would have worked. Would have worked, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a trade I'm supposed to take, honestly. So yeah, that's me not following my system, being hesitant. So, I could have had, what is that, 3 winning trades by now. But yeah, just feeling hesitant today. This market, there's a lot of chop when I started. It's now made the new high. And, it still feels very much like potentially a range day. So hard to take a long over an inside bar. Coming right off of the top just previously doesn't look like visually clear 2 legs for me. And even though for my system I'm really supposed to take that trade, just overthought it and decided not to take it. It's just another one of those days. Here we've got kind of a triple test at the very highs with the potential second entry. I'm feeling some sort of way. This will probably work. It's a lower high. Let's see here. Just kind of feels like it's going to keep going up, doesn't it? Take a chance on it. Small bar. I have a feeling this can get me in trouble though. Yeah, I had a feeling. Should have listened to my instincts here. I almost stayed out of it. No. All right. I had a feeling and I said it, but I took a chance. Another little step further away from my goal on this account. It just every time I'm there, yeah. All right, so that's the first loss on this chart, and I managed to take it. At least it's a smaller loss, so I can accept it. It is my system, and it was a clear triple test off the top, but I knew it was dangerous. I had an instinct that I probably should stay out of it, and it caused a loss on 2 of my charts. So, yeah, it doesn't feel great, but it is what it is. Let me update my stats, man. 41 days traded on this account. I can't get it to the profit target. All right, update my stats here. At least my instinct was right. And my instincts have been good lately. I mean, I really should have listened to it because I've been right most of the time in terms of my read of the market. And I felt like this was a situation where this exact sort of thing could have happened. I did move it to the previous swing high just because my signal bar got engulfed. But at least I've got some time before the payout window. So oh, look, now it's going to see. This is the problem with these sorts of trades up here. This happens a lot. Yeah, get ticked out and then it goes in your direction. Yeah, look at that. Now it goes and goes to where I thought it was going to go. That's the hardest part about these trades. Yeah, if I moved it above the high of the day, it would have still been taken out. So no matter what I would have done there, it's just one of those trap trades. All right, so I've lost actually 3 of my charts in that one instance. All right, so I'm going to turn PA2 off. I don't try to get it back in a single day. I'll just move on to the next account because the more likely thing to happen is I'll trade PA2 another day and get some of it back, and trade it a second day and have it all back, just according to my stats, you know, being 80%. So I win 4 out of 5, generally speaking, right now. So the only chart I have left is this one. And you can see it wasn't even triggered here. There was no second entry here. So I will just move on to a different account. Maybe I'll move on to 27 and just try to take the sting out of losing on my PA account by trying to pass and get another PA account. I would like to have another PA account just because these are not in great shape. So it'd be nice to start with a fresh one. And I'll probably look for other charts to trade as well. The nice thing is, even though I got this loss on this PA account, which sets me further away from the goal, I mean, I've got time now until the next payout window, so it's not really that big of a deal. So let's see here. That's what I do. I just check a bunch of different tick size charts and look for one that I can trade next. So there's a past evaluation. Got much more than I needed. Too bad I don't wait for that one on my PA account, but it's just the way it goes. That was a nice trade. Look at that thing move. So I got 5 1/4, 5 1/2, 6 1/2 points. $26 ticks. Too bad the timing wasn't a little bit different. That I could have taken that on the other account, but so at least I've got one thing done, which is passing an evaluation. Thanks, Saggy. Yeah, frustrating to get that loss on the PA account that's so close to a payout. I keep doing this where I get to the just over 52,000 level, keep getting a little bit higher, and then I fall back to this level. But it'll be good to have a second 50K PA starting fresh, because these are both kind of like, the further away they get from payout, this one is almost busted, and this one's got a lot of work to do. So I will like to focus on the newer PA along with this PA, and then these will be kind of back burner PAs. So yeah, past eval. A little bit of a bittersweet win there. Let's update the stats. So this took me 22 days. 22 trading days to pass that one. All right. All right, so that evaluation is done. And where will we move on to? I suppose PA6. Now there's a lot less pressure on me to trade PA6 and PA7, because if I lose them, I've already got one of them replaced. And so let's see, my new chart held up as well here. So really, I could be looking for one more chart. so I've got 3 charts to trade off of. And I've got about a half hour left to trade. I'm going to trade PA6 next. And yeah. So it's funny, you know, you pass an evaluation. It's great. You feel like you accomplished something. Now I just owe Apex more money. So whereas I would have been break even if I got a payout already last week. And then this would have been just, you know, $140 back in the hole. Now I'm going to be in for like $21.40 approximately. But it is a good thing. I wanted to get this done, and especially because these 2 PAs are in bad shape. It'd be nice to have a second PA that's just fresh PA. And then every day I'll start with the PA2, and then I'll go to what will be PA8. Yeah. So ultimately, that's how I want it to work, is I want to be able to trade more PAs every day and less evaluations. So now, you know, kind of technically speaking, I could trade, you know, 4 PAs before I get to my evaluations, which means I need more trades in a day to even get to the evaluations, which means I might start copy trading evaluations to my PA trades. So it's pretty good. This actually, I can tell it's not affecting me emotionally, the loss. It'd be nice to rack up a few more wins for other accounts. But you can see how, you know, the loss is kind of not important at the moment. Of course, if I take more losses on this account moving forward, that will not be great. But I've still got a ton of drawdown. I've got $2,000, full $2,000 in drawdown. Just shy of 2,000, right? Like 1970 or something. So not in danger at all on that account, and have a new PA in the meantime. Let's see what happens here. Just saw this in the corner of my eye, so I took it. Uh-oh. Make sure my stop is good. All right, this looks like it's, well, what's going to happen? Not looking good so far. Gonna work. Maybe I was gonna get lucky there. What's it gonna do? Seems like it's trying to push up, but hopefully it can push back down. No. Not looking good for me here. All right, it's gonna give me what I need. Here we go. All right. Didn't get the full 11.6 that I want. Saying I got 12, but I didn't. I got 10 ticks. There must have been some slippage on the PA account. Looks like 10 ticks is what I got there. I'll take it. 23rd day traded on that account. And update my stats here. All right, so what I do like about today is I'm not feeling like highs and lows. I'm just taking the trades as they come. I did skip a couple early on, so I mean, while I'm 2-1 now, I could have been 3-1 or 4-1 potentially. So that is, in hindsight, looking back, it is, you know, I'm messing with my my stats in a way, because I'm not taking every trade that I'm supposed to take. So if I was taking every trade I was supposed to take, these stats would be a little bit higher to have a couple more trades today. But at the same time, I took a hit on my best PA and I didn't feel real bad about it. And I got a couple wins. I don't feel like super high about them. I passed an evaluation, don't feel super high. So I feel like emotionally, I'm right where I want to be. Just take the trade according to my edge. It works or it doesn't work. And then I move on to the next account. So now PA7 is likely to blow mid-trade if there's any sort of pullback. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to trade it with an evaluation. And just to try to bring up my worst evaluation at the same time as my worst PA, I'll trade them together. So it's kind of like the two accounts I care the least about. I'll trade together on the next trade. If I get a setup, I'm gonna have to leave in the next 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll leave the stream running when I stop, and then I'll come back and see if there's anything I can continue to trade at that point. But not a bad day. I mean, I don't want to take losses on PA2, but if I'm going to take a loss on PA2, I'm glad I've got a new PA account to add to it. All right, so I've still got 3 accounts currently to trade with. Now, one of my new charts triggered a second entry short right here. I don't think it's hit the profit target yet. It's like one tick shy of being where I needed it to lock in. I didn't take this trade, obviously. I was busy doing what I was doing after the last trade. But this would have been continuation of the other trade, another setup that triggered afterwards. But you can see I got out of the trade after this triggered already, so there's no way I could have entered this also. Sagi says, if anyone wants to experience a deadly roller coaster, show them PA2 account. Yeah, right. It has been a roller coaster, but the thing is I've never taken a second loss on it and been lower than around this level. Every time I've gotten up to like the 52,000 area, I get to 52,000. It went back to like 51.5. Get to 52,100. It goes back to 51,600. And I got to 52,200 and it went to 51.7. I think I've done that twice now. 51 or 52,200 something, and then get a loss and go down to 51.7. But my risk management strategy is working, and the way I'm using my accounts is working, so that I've been protecting this account. And I get a loss, I move on. I come back another day, I get a win, I get a little bit back, move on another day, come back, get another win, get a little bit back. And then every time so far, I've been able to get to the highest balance again after I've taken a loss. But that is the problem with like being 4 out of 5, being 80% overall, is it's slightly too low of a win percentage. I really thought my win percentage would be a little bit higher. And what is it exactly? I haven't actually recalculated with what I'm currently at. Let's see. So 165. Yeah, so I'm right on 80% on the dot, basically. But it is the problem is, 80% is just slightly too low. Like I really need to be at like 85. Oh, look, this ended up working. And just enough that would have locked in a winning trade. So there's no way I could have got in that because I was still in the other trade. But 3 good charts still. But yeah, just if I was like 85%, then I feel like that difference would have helped me on this account so far. But look, I mean, the account's not in danger, and I know losses are going to come. I know losses are going to come 1 out of 5 times right now. So it's just a matter of where they randomly fall. And unfortunately today it had to be on this account again. I just keep moving on, you know. I feel like I'll get there eventually. Sagi says, one thing I learned is in trading, you have to give time. Yeah, I agree. Have to give time. Anytime I try to rush it, it just goes worse. So, you know, the thing is too, I missed the payout window already last week. I mean, last week I had a winning trade on this account, and my winning trade gave me a $70 loss because I had a trade copier issue. So I already had a little bad luck in terms of that, because if I had got that win, I know you weren't here, Sagi, but if I got that win on Thursday instead of a $70 loss, I would have been 1 trade away from passing or qualifying for a payout. And then I did take a win on Friday, and I didn't trade it on PA2 because I just wasn't feeling good about, you know, or confident about the week and the price action, what was going on. And I was 3-0 for the week, but, you know, I took that little hit. I just decided on a Friday I didn't want to risk the PA account on that Friday taking the trade I took, which would have won, or it did win. I mean, I took it on evaluation 34 instead. So, but if I had won properly on Thursday, because it was a winning trade, if I had got my profit that I was supposed to get, I would have taken the trade on Friday because it was the last day for the payout window, and then I would have already qualified for the payout on Friday. So sometimes it's just a matter of circumstances, you know, because that's what's happened to me on this account, is just circumstances. Easily Friday could have, and would have been a payout day for me. And if you didn't get a chance to see it, go back to Thursday, and it's the first trade of my day. Okay. PA2 is always the first trade of my day, so just go back and look. I think it was the only trade of my day on Thursday. So go back and look at that trade on the live stream, and you'll see it was a winning trade. But the copier didn't close my PA account. Or no, what happened was it didn't fill my PA account to enter the trade. And then I realized that it didn't enter it, but I thought I was safe to just let the trade play out. Unfortunately, when it closed the account for the win on my leader account, which is a sim account, it entered me in the opposite direction on my PA account. And then I just exited as fast as I could when I saw that happen, and I took like a $70 loss. So if that hadn't happened, if it entered me in properly on the PA account, and I got the win, the trade worked, I would have passed it on Friday. I would have qualified. So just is what it is. And I've got enough patience built up at this point that I'm not going to let it affect me. I mean, look at this. I've traded the account for 41 days. This account, 41 trading days, and I'm still searching for my first payout. And I believe I'll get there. And now I've got a new PA account coming to me, a new 50K. I'm going to be done with the 25Ks. I'm not going to play them anymore. So whatever happens with these 2 accounts and with this 1 account for the evaluation, after that, I'm not going to renew or buy any more 25Ks. I just think for my strategy, it's better to just it's better to have a little bit more wiggle room, since my losses are a little bit bigger, and it just affords me an extra losing trade if I happen to get it. And let's see, Sagi says Friday you only took 1 trade, now you're taking quality trades. Well, yeah, so I talked about this last week, Sagi. I know you were on vacation, so you missed it, but I've been taking less trades just because of market conditions. There were, let's see, Monday I was 2-0. Tuesday, I skipped a whole lot of trades. And I could just tell that Tuesday was the kind of market where my system is going to take more losses. And it was true. If I took all the entries I was supposed to take on Tuesday, I don't remember exactly, but I would have been something like 2-4, or 3-3, or 2-5, or 3-5. I forget, if I'd taken every entry. I could just tell that there would have been a lot of losses that came. I think it was one of those days where I started off the day, and right away, I had 4 charts I was ready to trade off of, and right away, the very first entry, I think before I was even ready to trade, the very first entry took a loss on all 4 charts at the same time. And when that happens, when I see all 4 charts get a loss at the same time, like the first entry at 7 a.m., I just, one, it gives me a bad feeling because it rarely happens. But 2, it's just like kind of a sign to me, like, okay, maybe not the best trading day for the system, right? And so I was just very cautious that day, and I avoided easily 3 or 4 or more losses on that day. And then Wednesday was the same kind of thing. Like Wednesday, the way the market was moving, I don't remember the details, but just the way the market was moving, I could tell it just wasn't a great looking day price action wise. It was a day that it looked like my system would struggle. And it was another day where, again, I would have taken multiple losses. So then Thursday, I took the 1 trade on the PA account, and should have been a win, but ended up getting a $70 loss. And then Friday, it was the same kind of thing where it's just being careful. Like, the week wasn't great. The market was a bit slow, if I remember correctly. And I skipped a couple trades, and then there was only 1 trade that I really liked, so I took that trade. And just because I wasn't going to qualify for a payout anymore on Friday, because I didn't get that first win that I needed on the PA account. So I decided Friday, since I wasn't going to try to push it and try to get the PA account to a payout no matter what, I just decided to trade a different account. So I traded Evaluation 34, took the first trade on that account, and got the win. But yeah, it was the only trade of the day. And then you know how I am on Fridays anyways. Like Fridays, I'm like typically a little bit more careful because I just I don't like taking a loss going into the weekend. It's much easier to take a loss like today on a Monday and know that I have the whole week to get it back. So yeah, it's just how it's been. And it's not that I'm taking quality trades, but I don't know if this looks like a quality trade. Or where was it? Well, either one of them really. I don't know if either one of these look like necessarily quality trades, but just trades that when the market isn't really doing the thing I like the most, then I'm just a little bit more selective. But yeah, that's a newer thing, just being a little more selective. But I keep kind of vacillating. I keep going back and forth between being selective and just taking every entry. All right, Sagi, thanks for coming by and chatting with me. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you have a better day tomorrow. Hope we both have a better day tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll get no losses, only wins. All right, so I am running out of time here. I'm going to have to take a break for about a half hour in about less than 10 minutes. Yeah, Saggy says tomorrow only wins. Yeah. Yeah, my loss today was a real bummer because, I mean, I wasn't wrong about the trade. I wasn't wrong. It just ticked me out and then it went. So, just one of those things. I did do the right thing by moving it over here. So the loss could have actually been a little bit smaller if I left it where it was, but I gave myself a little bit of a chance to stay in the trade and look if, look, I got taken out. Like I got top ticked. Yeah. What are you going to do? I don't feel bad about it. The trade was right. It ended up working. Just the timing was a little bit off. And the idea behind it was right. I mean, yeah, it's definitely looking like a range, right? So if I do that on the other chart, I put it here and move it up. It's kind of the range. So he's right. Triple test. Barely ticked me out, but it's staying in the range. So yeah, no reason to feel bad about that trade. It's just one of those things. Barely ticked me out. I feel like that happens quite a bit with these kinds of trades. Oh wow, now the market's really selling off. But yeah, you have a small bar and it's just like not enough to protect your stop. It's a bummer, but oh well. I think I'm gonna have to take my break starting now. I'm driving my daughter to school, so I need about a half hour before I'm back. So. I'll just put that there. Where's it better? I guess up here. All right, so I'll be back. I'll leave my stream running Not sure if I'll take any trades when I get back. It just depends on if I still have charts and what the price action's looking like. So, this loss was very close to being a win and passed an evaluation. So I'll have a new PA tomorrow. And yeah, I mean, the plan ultimately is once I get a payout that gets me approximately break even minus a little bit with the PA fee. And then hopefully I can get a payout. See, I won't be able to qualify for a payout on the new PA no matter what I do. I think I'll be a day short by the time the next payout window closes. But anyway, hopefully I can continue to build up PAs. And then, the idea is I want to be able to trade more PAs and evaluations and get to payouts. And then once the payout thing starts to happen, I'm not that far away. I'm still, where are we, 900 away here. But look, I've proven I can do it. I've proven I can make over 3,000 on this evaluation. I made 1,500 on both of these accounts to pass them for PAs. So this one's been at over 2,000 multiple times. So I know I can do it. It's just a matter of time and patience and persistence. So all right, I'm going to take my break and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. If anyone's out there. All right, so this has just been a slow grind down. I see. Very much looking like we're potentially at the bottom of the range, although the bottom of the range could be down here too. It looks like I just missed a trade not too long ago. First entry, second entry below the previous day close would have been a trade I could have taken. All right. I still would like to get, let's see, are all these charts still good? They are. 3 charts that are still good. Still would like to get a trade for PA7 and evaluation 35. All right, so I've got this chart as well as this chart and this chart. This chart was my loser of the day. I'm still thinking about it. I don't feel bad about this trade. The only thing I feel bad about is not taking this long here, because then this would have been the win on PA2 instead of getting the loss on PA2 here. So that's the only thing, is I skipped this trade, and there was really no reason or rule to skip this trade, and I had a bias to the upside. It was just because it was so much up and down, and you know, felt like a range like that. But even that should give me more reason to go long instead of short. So it's really a trade I should have taken, but it is what it is. Sometimes that extra cautiousness causes me a loss on the account that I'm being cautious about, and that's something I've been battling for a while. Every time I get this account close to a payout, I get a little bit overcautious, and sometimes that's the thing I do. I skip a trade that I probably should take, and then it leaves me to take a trade where I get the first loss of the chart for the whole session. But the trade wasn't wrong. It was just that I think the market wanted to retest the high of the day, and it had to get that completed before. So that's something I can consider when a setup like this happens. I really understood that it should get the high of the day right there before I enter. So something to think about in the future. I mean, you can see also the high of this bar was 74.50. So I had my stop at 74.75, and the high was 76. So it's still another 1.25 higher from where I put my stop. But I did the right thing. I moved the stop to the previous high. I was supposed to do that, give me a little better chance of surviving. Almost worked, but not quite. And then meanwhile, I was able to take 2 more trades not long after, and picked up the wins on those. Do it that way. So Passed the evaluation here for the 50K account after the first trade was a loss. And that just proves that I can get the accounts to the payout level and more, trading the way I'm trading. So I've just been a little bit unfortunate with the timing of where my losses have come on this account, but I've proven that I can do it on the 50Ks with the system. And now it's just a matter of doing it on the PA as well as the evaluation. Because I gotta remind you, anyone watching, this PA2 I had before I started trading NQ, and before I started trading this system on NQ. I got this account last year in July, I think, if I remember right, and I just never traded it. And I had 5 PA accounts that I built up, and I traded account 1, 3, 4, and 5. And then I ended up blowing up all of those accounts by the end of last year. That's when I stopped trading ES and I switched over to NQ and been trading this way. And so all of my profit on PA2 has been from the system, but I didn't achieve the PA count from the system. So these two 25K PAs were the first 2 PAs I passed using the system in 3 months. And now this is the 3rd PA I've passed using the system. So the system's working for me overall. But because I'm going slowly, I'm trading kind of lesser contracts for most of these accounts, and I'm trading just 1 trade a day on these accounts, and just rotating through. So it's just taking me quite a longer, especially because the past week I've been taking less trades. But even before that, even if I get 8 trades in a day, that just means I have 1 trade for each account for the day. So that's something that I was hoping I'd get this payout, and then I can play a little bit looser with the rest of the accounts, because I'd be break even with a payout, with 1 max payout. So the game plan hasn't totally come together yet. Because now every new fee, I'm now building up a larger debt to Apex than what I can get on 1 single payout. And so yeah, with this PA fee I'm going to have at the close of market today, that's going to put me over the 2,000 for sure, like by basically that PA fee. So now it's going to take a second payout to get into profit. But that was always true. Regardless, it's basically break even, a little less than break even if I were to make this payout happen before any more fees. But if I wanted to get into profit, it was always going to take a second payout at this point. What I just decided is evaluation 35. I'm just going to go a little bit bigger and trade 5 contracts on that one and try to bring it up. And then PA7, I'm going to trade at the same time, whatever the next trade is, if I get another trade today. And so that one, I've only got 150. I've got just over $324 of drawdown. So I can only trade 1 contract on it, because any kind of pullback, any kind of drawdown has the potential to blow up the trade, even if it's even if it turns into a winning trade, if it pulls back enough. So especially on if I go bigger, if I go for more than 2 contracts. So I'm just gonna have to build this one back up really slowly. It's gonna be like 50 or slightly more dollars per trade, depending on if I get extra ticks. So it's just going to be a slow climb back up, and that's why I'm going to just copy it onto anytime I trade another account, or anytime I want to trade this account, I'll trade another account with it. That way, if I do happen to blow up this account mid-trade, I can still potentially get a win on the other trade with it if it's still a good trade overall. So just trying to be as strategic as I can. I mean, I'm halfway to 2 more PAs, 29 and 33. What I'd like to do is kind of, honestly, I'd like to clear out these evaluations, hopefully pass them, add more PAs, and then not buy any more evaluations until I get to at least one payout. Ideally, I'd get to 2 payouts before I buy more evaluations, but I don't know that I'm going to wait that long. We'll see. I always like to have extra accounts just to spread out the risk. Especially, there was a time where I was getting a lot of trades every day. I was getting like, 6 to 8 trades a day for a little while there. So if I'm doing that, then I definitely want to have enough accounts to support that many trades without taking a second trade on an account. And at some point, I'll up it and I'll do like 2 trades per account. And I'll be copy trading to an extra account. But it's all going to hinge on getting a payout first, because I'm not trying to build up super large expenses before I replenish what I've put out so far. And that's just how I'm doing it. I mean, I've been on Apex for a year now. Most of that time, 9 months of it, I was trading on the ES with a different system, 2 different systems, and so to have only spent $2,000 in a year, I mean, you think about it, if you're trading the regular market, if in a live account, you could lose $2,000 inside of a couple trades. If you're trading NQ and if you're trading multiple contracts. So the fact that I've only spent 2,000 in a whole year, it's kind of like how I treated my live account. I had a live account that I put $2,000 in, and it took me almost 2 years before I completely blew it up. So I didn't make any money off of it. I could have. There was a point where I was up over $1,000. I wish I could go back in time and take out that $1,000 profit and paid myself and left the 2,000 in. But at the time, I was thinking, I want to build up contracts. So I was trading 1 contract at a time, and I thought, okay, once I have an extra 1,000 in, I'll up at the 2 contracts. And then, of course, I went on a losing streak and lost all the profit back. But I'm just playing it slow. I'm learning. I'm growing as a trader, and I'm just being very methodical about everything. And so it's keeping costs down at least. I mean, there's a lot of people that can start this Apex thing. They get into, they want to have 20 accounts. So they're buying 20 accounts right away. And then even if they pass all their evaluations, then they got a PA fee they got to pay for all those 20 accounts. So now you're looking at thousands of dollars just to get started. And if you blow those first accounts, now you're already in deep for thousands of dollars, probably within a couple months. And you're going to do it again and recycle. And a lot of people can build up tens of thousands of dollars of debt and not get a payout because they're just trying to go big every time. And on the one hand, eventually if they do get a payout, and they get it on all 20 accounts or even 10 or 15 accounts, it might only take 1 payout across a lot of accounts to get all the money back. But meanwhile, you're putting all that money out there. So I'm just doing it slower, more methodical, and going to try to build. I just had to step away for a quick second. So what was I talking about? Yeah, just going slowly, and the fact that I've been on Apex for 2 years total and only in for 2,000. When you think about it, 35 evaluations and 7 PAs. Going to be 8 PAs after today. To only be in 2,000 in that amount of time is not bad. And honestly, it could have been a little bit less because there were times where I really had more accounts than I needed to have, and earlier on I was copy trading accounts, so I was really burning more accounts than I needed to. Also, I'm only up to 35 accounts because every time they had a better offer, a better discount, I would cancel an account and get another account. So, but some of these accounts, have been multiple months as well. So, as you can tell, account 27, I've traded for 22 trading days. So it's been multiple months on that account, for instance. Let me see. Yeah, account 27, I've 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months I've had account 27. And I blew it up once. All right, so price is pushing strongly through the previous day close. Never did get a retest of the low yet. I was thinking if a second entry short set up coming off of that previous day close in the EMA, I would have liked that. But also, just considering where this range might be, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that the range is kind of there, and it was like little breakouts at the bottom. Just like there's some breakouts at the top, especially if you do it this way. So it's possible we're going back to the top. It's possible we'll go back and retest the bottom. Anything's possible. I'm just looking for my setups according to my system. Right, so usually I'm done trading by this time. Usually I definitely would want to trade PAs by this time, but I don't mind trading PA7, win or lose. This account's so close to getting blown up. What I really should be doing with PA7 is just trading it with every trade. But obviously I would have blown that up on the first trade today if I had done that. But it's so close to the drawdown, to the trailing threshold, to be liquidated. And it's going to take so much time and effort to build it back up. It's kind of inconsequential to me at this point, and that's why I won't trade it without trading other accounts at the same time. I really should have traded it for sure when I traded account 27. I don't want to trade 2 PAs at the same time right now, so I wouldn't have traded it when I traded PA6, which was my third trade. But now, if I get a fourth trade, I will trade it with account 35. And I still have 3 good charts, so I know the longer the day goes, the more likely these charts start to pick up some losses. And the market is moving rather slow, I can tell right now. This is during the lunch hour, so I'm usually done trading by now, but I'll give it a little bit longer. Maybe I'll trade to about 10:30 since I just, since I had about 40 minutes where I wasn't able to trade a little while ago. All right, so there's a first entry to the short side. And so I'll be looking to see if there's going to be a second entry to the short side that sets up below the EMA, but hopefully below the EMA and below the previous day close, which is the dotted blue line or dashed blue line. Also, this is a strong leg up, so pretty much expect to retest the high here too. So I'm not going to want to go short above here. All right, just going to wait and be patient, see if we get another setup here. And yeah, I mean, other than the loss, the fact that I took a loss, but 3 trades today, so definitely a better day for me just in terms of volume of trades, even though one of them was a loss. And that's, what I've been experiencing with this system. I mean, I should have had one more trade. I should have had one more win. The first trade should have been earlier. But the first trade should have been this one for a long off of this. But the way it was chopping around at the time, I just felt like I wanted to steer clear of taking anything. But that could have been a win. And that trade definitely didn't go against any rules. If anything, it worked with the rules because it was using the previous day close as support. And it worked like so fast. So definitely was a trade I should have taken. So I easily could have been 3-1 today, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know how that goes. But right, if this goes above and then comes back down, might be worth considering a second entry short below. And it's the same situation on all 3 of my charts right now. I want to make sure that it's near the end of the candle if it does go all the way down here. I'm guessing it's going higher. The next thing I'd like is if it doesn't do it here, I'd like to do it off of the previous day open. Or not the previous day, but today's current opening price, which is this white dashed line. If I could get a second entry off of that, that would be good too. But what I won't do is if this creates a second entry going right into the previous day close, I'll stay away from that. Also, it looks like one leg up. So at this point, I am expecting like a second leg. Yeah. Potentially. This would have to do a lot of work to get down where I need it to be to take a short. So I'm really thinking there's not going to be a short right here. At least not one that I'll take. All right, so it's pushing. So yeah, really, ideally what I'd like is a second entry to the short side right off of the opening price. And if it happens before that, I probably won't take it, because at this point, I really am expecting to see a move like this. Yeah, but if the short side were to happen like here, it's going right into the previous day close again. So those are the levels I won't trade into. I can only trade off of them, like using this as support, basically. If I was from below, use it as resistance. You know, it's situations like this where I'd want to, in the future, be able to like just enter a trade based on the fact that I think I have a destination in mind. But I can't trade that way right now as a non-profitable trader. So at some point, if I become a profitable trader, then I think I'll be able to take some trades outside of my system that are just more based on reading the market, whether I'm right or wrong, and seeing how I can do trading that way. But right now, I only trade within my system. Just like the ultimate discipline way of trading. And again, if this sets up a short anytime around here, I'm not taking it. All right, just waiting here to see what happens. The thing that's interesting here for me is the three charts I have all have this potential second entry short. So the first entry, second entry here, potentially setting up. Same thing here. and same thing here. So if a second entry to the short side does trigger, it'll trigger likely on all of them at the same time. But I can't take it right into the previous day close. That's a hard rule at this point that I don't take these, because it'll either engulf or trigger one way or the other. It'll be above it. So it'd be going into two levels of support, the EMA and the previous day close. So these situations are like really easy for me to just skip a trade, right? And these are the situations where I want to skip a trade. It's like a black and white rule if it triggers. Whereas that other trade I talked about earlier, this one to the long side, there was no rule to keep me out of that trade. So this is a trade I want to take. Even the loss, there was no rule to keep me out of the trade other than kind of based on my own knowledge. I knew that I wanted it to retest the high. So I was looking at like, okay, well, maybe since it's a lower high, it'll still work. But I know and I knew that likely it needs to retest the high and make a new high before it's going to go in my favor. So, and that's what it did, just barely. Okay, so this triggered. Whether this works or not doesn't matter. I can't take the trade because I've seen this is the area where these lose a lot of times if they're going to lose. And this actually triggered on all three of my charts. Triggered here and triggered here. So if this fails, like I suspect it might, then that will be the end of all four charts I currently have, or all three charts that I currently have that are active. So I really don't want it to fail, even though I didn't take the trade, because I don't want to lose all my charts to trade with. If I do lose all my charts, I will look and see if there's any other charts I can play, but it might cause me to end my session now. Or soon, I should say. Yeah, right now all of them are looking like they want to fail, and it would support my my chart analysis that I think we're going higher. And look at this one. This one engulfed and now is bouncing back up. So, and again, if I was able to trade outside of my system, if I was a profitable trader, these might be situations where if it does tick above, I might consider going long, since I have a reason to go long, just based on market analysis. But I won't be doing anything like that right now. But that might be something that I fold into the way I trade in the future. First, we have to see if this even actually fails or not. So far, it hasn't received enough for my profit target. And actually, I think this actually engulfed here. So the low, I'd have to be at 95.75, 92.50. So that's 13 ticks. So it would need to go 3 more ticks for me to have my stop locked in and get a win. If I was only going for 11 ticks, it would have worked already. Yeah, looks like it's going to fail. Although that's true too. I said my new rule is going to be if I'm trading this late, I'm not going for extra ticks. So let me make some adjustments here, because I totally forgot that was something I was making into a new rule. for myself in terms of risk management. So I should be going for just my standard scalp at this point of the day, in which case this already worked. All right, so I'm just going to be looking for 11 ticks at this point. So I would not have been able to take this trade based on my rule, but it would have worked. So this chart will be good no matter what happens here. My other two charts, I can't say the same thing. This did not work for 11 ticks yet. I think it's 1 tick shy. All right, so it's looking like my two other charts are about to take a loss. Even going for 11 ticks, they're going to take a loss, it looks like. This one and this one. And again, it's exactly what I was talking about, going into the previous day close and the EMA together, which likely plays support from above. And so if I was playing without black and white rules, I'd probably want to take a long up here, but I'm not going to. All right, so that's officially a loss on these two charts. So I'm down to one chart. And it's interesting, these two charts, not only did they not work for the original amount that I was going for today, but they didn't work for my standard 11 ticks either. Right in the area where I know to avoid taking trades anyway, but it did work on this chart. So it's an example where it still can work. but you might not be on the right chart. And it only worked on 1 out of 3. So I'm going to take a look and see if I can find any more charts for these other two. And I really don't want to be trading too much longer, so we'll see. I mean, at this point, the accounts are kind of inconsequential. What I'm trading next, the 35 and PA7. Of course, I always want wins, but if they were to get a loss, it's not a big deal. And then I have 3 other evaluations, so I do want to get trades for them. So that's the one problem with ending early is, you know, when I usually end by 9 or 9:30, it's almost 10 now. Just I don't get a lot of times I don't get an opportunity to trade all the accounts. The way I'm using these accounts is my risk management. So, but let me see if there's even any other charts. I've still got the one, at least for now. I'm just looking for another chart still, and I'm not seeing any. Still got a few more I can check, maybe. Otherwise, I've just got the one single chart left that I'll trade with today. And it is getting late, so I mean, I'd maybe give myself another half hour to trade with. maybe 45 minutes, depending on how I'm feeling. It doesn't look like I'm going to be adding any more charts to my plan today. All right, so I'm satisfied that there's definitely no other charts that I may be trading today. So depending on what happens here with this chart and the time, I might be done for today, but we'll see. My expectation is we're still getting up to this area of the opening price again, maybe a little higher, and then see what happens from there. And I'll just be waiting for a setup that makes sense for my system. If I see something I like that's not violating a rule of like one of these key entry areas or key level areas, I'll be willing to take a trade if it makes sense. But usually I've got like at least 2 or 3 charts running at the same time, so I might have multiple opportunities, and now I'm just down to kind of the standard one chart, which is what a lot of people do, is just trade off of one chart. I always like having the extra charts because not only does it give you an idea of what's happening and give you different size tick charts to kind of judge things, but it just gives more opportunities too throughout the day. So even though I've lost one of my trades today, I mean, it wasn't a bad trade. I mean, I had the direction right. It just top ticked me and then moved to where I thought it was going. So, well, it sucks that it was on my best PA. I've got a new PA starting tomorrow, so that's all right. I'll absorb the loss and we'll continue on tomorrow with that one. And really, it wasn't a bad trade. It just, if I'm looking at the actual chart where I took the trade on, it wasn't a bad trade. It just, it needed to fulfill the new high, the retest. It was a little shy of it where I took the entry. So it's just a little shy of having a full retest. And I think that was why I got the loss there. And I think, you know, if I see that happen enough times, then I'll just avoid the setups when they happen there. Because I feel like I've seen that before too, not too long ago. So if that keeps happening, then that'll just be one more rule I'll add. I try to not to have too many rules, but as you can see, I mean, I'm not drawing trend channels or anything. So, but it makes sense if you're drawing a trend channel for here, right? If you're drawing it, you might say, well, this is the first break, so you're expecting a new high. And even if you're basically there, but a few ticks shy, it might not be enough. So if you get the setup there, you might have to skip it and let it have a full retest before you do it. So I'm not drawing those channels, but I see that, and I saw it in real time, and I kind of knew. My instincts was saying that maybe stay out of it for this exact reason. But unfortunately, I decided to go for it. It was a very small signal bar, 30 ticks. So that was another reason that it kind of lured me in, just because it was like, okay, well, if I take a loss, you know, on 2 contracts, it was only $443, as opposed to if I was, you know, trading off of a 80 tick bar, which sometimes happens, it would be more than double the size, right? So it could easily turn into $1,000 loss on that kind of a loss. But ironically, if it was a bigger bar and it had gone up here and made a new high, it probably would have worked. So I might have been better off with a larger bar in that case. It looks like it's telling me 27 views today, which is on the higher side for my live streams. So that's awesome. I wish people would come in and talk to me a little bit more, but because it kind of helps me to, you know, have a couple people that come in, and when they're here, they chat with me quite a bit. But it would help to have topics to talk about when people interact, especially when the market's slow and I'm not really seeing anything setting up in the immediate future. But I know how it goes. I mean, I go into a lot of streams too and don't chat, so the invitation stands. All right, so yeah. $206 trades this year. I mean, even after coming off of a week where I only had 4 trades, you know, to think that in a month and 1 week I've got 206 trades is pretty awesome for me. It's funny, I was watching someone on their live stream kind of over the weekend, not live, but watching back their live stream, and I mean, they're just taking one trade after another. It's just like, I mean, I don't even have any understanding of how many trades they took. They could have easily taken 100 trades in a single day. And it's funny because he kept saying, oh, well, he'd get a loss and say, oh, I just need to chill. I'm just going to sit back and chill. And then like a bar or maybe 2 bars later, he was back in a trade. Of course, you know, we all play different size time frames or tick charts or whatever. So I think he was on a time chart. Forget if it was a time chart or a tick chart, but either way, it was definitely a smaller time frame than the trades or the charts that I use. And man, he was just in and out of trades like every other bar. It's just amazing. But I don't think that's a winning strategy. You know, I think when you have a strategy where you have less trades but they're more reliable, that's the better strategy in my opinion. I mean, there's people that just read the market and just enter wherever they feel something, but I think every time you're in the market in a trade, you know, you're putting risk on. So the more risk you put on, the more likely you are to lose. I don't just mean lose like any individual trade, but lose on the day, because it's a matter of managing risk, right? So every time you enter, you're adding risk to your day. So I don't know. For me, it's like, I think a great day for me is anywhere between 5 and 10 trades. If I can get 5 and 10, that's a great day. If I get 2 or 3, it's still a good day. And honestly, even if I get none or one, it's not a bad day, because I'd rather have a day where I don't take a loss and don't have a red day. Even today, I mean, I have this loss on this account, and it's my biggest number on the board for a loss, red $443, but it feels like a green day because I've got 2 accounts that improved, and I passed an evaluation. So it's funny psychologically trading this way, where I'm rotating accounts and trading one at a time. Psychologically, it's really interesting because even though the loss is on my best account, it's just not affecting me. And if you add up all the numbers, I'm still down like almost $110 between the 3 accounts overall. But it's just, today feels like a good day, being 2-1. And if I was 2-1 on the one account, I'd be down $100. So instead of passing an evaluation and getting a new PA, I'd just be focused on the one account. I'd still be down, and it would feel like a bad day because I just have one red number on the board. So it's just really interesting how psychologically trading the way I'm trading is helping me. Even regardless, I mean, it's not, my loss wasn't the kind of trade where I felt like an idiot or felt like it was a bad trade. If you just look at the overall price action, the reader was right, the timing was wrong, and wrong by a handful of ticks. But it's the kind of thing, I was willing to move my stop to this previous high swing. But I wasn't willing to move it infinitely. And, imagine if I moved it more than that and it just kept going, I could have blown up the account in a single trade. So I'm not going to do anything like that on a PA account or any other account that's important to me. Anyway, market's just still really slow. It's the lunch hour is over. It doesn't seem to be picking up quite yet. I'm going to give it just like 15 or so more minutes, maybe 20 more minutes, and then call it a day. I still have to do my review video. And, not a bad day anyway. All right, this level will be interesting for me because if this level doesn't hold and kind of do like a kind of triple test here and then continue forward or up, then I'm definitely going to think that we're going to retest the lows of the day. So this is kind of a really important level for the day for me. But if this holds, then I might be more inclined to think wherever the bottom of this is, that it'll go like that. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens here. This is still my initial measurement. But if this comes down below this level, then I want to see if this level holds and it's just one leg up and then it'll be a second leg up. Or if this fails, I think it's not making the measured move here, and we're going to at least the lows of the day. Let's see where we're at on the daily. So daily, it looks like it's getting rejected right at the EMA and the midline. So again, telling the same story, that it's just not able to push through. So it wouldn't be surprising on the daily to see it kind of struggle here and go a little bit lower again, and maybe come back down to the lows of the overall range. All right, so I'm going to take this off for now. It's looking like it's not happening. What I kind of wouldn't mind is if this holds and creates a first entry and then holds a little bit more and creates a second entry for a long. That would be something I'd consider taking. It's trying to hold. So yeah, it'd be interesting if we could get a first entry and then some kind of second entry for a long coming up. That would be a trade I'd take. My next trade is going to feel like no pressure. Trading PA7. PA7 I consider dead. I mean, the chances of bringing this back are incredibly small. And then I count 35 that I'm going to trade with it. You know, again, it's just the worst standing evaluation, so there's just no pressure to it. So it looks like it will give a first entry. It's very much looking like this previous day close is trying to work as support. Of course, as I say that, it's backing off. But yeah, what I'd really like to see is see a first entry form up here. Oh, it's really working against it right now. If it doesn't happen here, I really think it's just not making it to this measured move and we're going down. Again, just the overall picture. You know, the range could be something like this. You could, I guess, move it down to here now. So it could be getting stuck around potentially kind of the midline. If you move it all the way down here. you move it here, it's right at the midline. So I don't know. I'm just looking at this just as a gauge. I'm not really drawing these things or trading off of them or using them for trades. But it's nice to just kind of keep that sort of stuff in mind, have an idea of what it might be. All right, so we did get the first entry long off of the support area. So I would definitely be interested in a long if a second entry long sets up behind this somewhere. All right, I'm really just waiting to see what happens if there's a second entry that forms in a good spot for a long. And then depending on what it looks like, whether I take it or not, that'll be the end of my day, either which way. The way this is looking, though, makes it feel very questionable to be thinking long. The only thing I would say is you might be thinking something like this. But if you're drawing a trend, you already have a break a new high. So I'm not really sure here. I'm definitely ready to call it a day here. Just a couple more minutes. Tired. Really just waiting to see what happens here. Love to see a little bit of a move up, pull back, and then go long. But right now, these bars are starting to just stack up, right? One thing along for a second entry has going for it, if it closed above the previous day close and closed above the EMA, it would have a lot going for it. Kind of like the trade I passed up early in the day. This one, above the previous day close, above the EMA. And it was in the same kind of chop. I mean, if you look at it, it's pretty interesting that the chop keeps being around the same area. All right, so legit first entry. Yeah, the first thing I drew might still be legitimate, although it just definitely feels more like this now. I mean, this thing might just move up without even giving a second entry. That's what it's looking like. I mean, the other thing is it is a first entry. No, this was a second entry short that failed here. So no. It seems like maybe a little bit more volume is coming in now. I mean, it's been around this time of day the last week or week and a half where it's been a lot more action than earlier in the day. That I'm usually not around for, so. Just waiting to see if I can get a second entry to the long side. Looking a little bit like heads and shoulder pattern too, potentially. Not that I trade that, but shoulder here, head here. Maybe this is going to form a shoulder. All right, it looks likely to set up a second entry here, so just going to watch for this and make a decision if I'm in or not, if it happens. All right, so there's a potential for this to tick below, and then if we get another entry to the long side, that would be a second entry. So the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is you almost expect it to get down here for a second leg down, first leg, second leg. So it looks a little bit trappy, just the area. But if it were to set up above the EMA and above the previous day close with room to the body highs, then I think I would take it. All right, so now we have a first entry. It's ticked below. So now if it comes back up, it's potentially a second entry long. EMA is also like extremely flat. And this is definitely the latest in the day. You typically see me taking a trade anymore using the system. So if this were to engulf all the way up here, I'm not sure I would take it because there's not really room to here. But if it would kind of close up here maybe, above this body, maybe I'll take it. It's a little bit of a precarious situation. Seems like it wants to try to push down for that second leg down. Yeah, it seems like it wants to do this. In which case, if a second entry long sets up below the previous day close, below the EMA, it's not a long I would take. So this just might turn into a no trade area again for me, in which case I'll wrap it up. But I'm just waiting to see here if I like it or not. Oh, hello Eraser, you're back. How are you? You checking out the solar eclipse today? Yeah, I don't have like anything prepared to be able to look up there, so I don't want to burn my eyes out. What about you? Are you prepared? Are you gonna put some glasses on of some kind and take a look? Oh, you got a pair of those glasses? Cool. Let me know how it is. I've never actually tried to look at one besides just seeing it on TV. Gonna stare straight into the sun, get some rays for my eyeballs. Nice. Let me know how exciting it is. If it's worth it. Maybe if I'm alive for whenever the next time it happens, maybe I'll get one of those pair of glasses. Yeah, it's funny. My daughter's school, she's in preschool. My daughter's school sent a message saying that they were going to take some of the kids out to look at it. But she's really young. She's in just like the very first class of preschool. So I was like thinking to myself, geez, I hope they're not taking my daughter out to look at it, because she'll probably start looking up at the sun before they even have the glasses on her. And then she probably won't leave the glasses on. So she'll probably look at it without the glasses anyway and burn her eyeballs out. And then I read further and it said just the older kids, more like kind of closer to kindergarten age, are the only ones they were taking out. Halo Eraser says, if you don't see me chat again, assume that I can no longer see, so I can't type. I'm sure you'll be fine as long as you have a legitimate pair of those glasses. There's a way to make them too, I guess, but I have no idea. I've never looked into it. I always just kind of go like, okay, they show the image on TV, or, I see an image, a picture on the internet somewhere, and I go, okay, well, I feel like I saw it. I don't know that I need to necessarily do it myself. How's Halo Racer? I haven't seen you around in a little while. How's trading been for you? It feels like the last week or two has been pretty challenging for a lot of people. I'm curious how your trading's been. Trading's been okay. PA still alive. That's good. Yeah, I've been struggling with my PA. My PA too. I've been so close so many times. The end of last week, I was within, I think it was $340, something like that, of qualifying for the payout. And I was hoping to get it done last week during the payout window. And then on Thursday, I had a winning trade, but I use a sim leader account and then copy trade to my PAs or any of my Apex accounts really. And even though the trade worked, the PA account didn't get entered into the trade properly on the entry. And then, of course, after the trade worked and my leader account got taken out of the trade, the PA got entered into the opposite trade. And so I had to just exit out. And I lost $70 there. And then Friday, I just wasn't confident. So I didn't take a trade on it. I took a trade on a valuation account, got a win there. So between those two winning trades, if everything had gone smoothly and I took them both on my PA account, I would have had a payout last week. But instead, I waited till today, took a trade, and got a loss, as you can see. So I'm now down 900 away from qualifying. Halo Eraser says it's 2,600, right? Or is it 3,000? Yeah, for the payout on a PA account, it's 2,600. And then to qualify or to pass an evaluation and qualify for a PA account is 3,000. So you can see here, today I passed this evaluation with over 3,000. So I'll be getting a new PA account for tomorrow. But yeah, I just missed out on the payout on this PA account last week. And then my first trade of the day, or is it my first trade of the day, was here. And it took a short and just barely ticked me out and then went where I thought. So not a bad trade. It was a very small risk, so I was willing to take it. But I knew when I was entering the trade, I actually said, if you go back and watch my live stream during the trade, I said, you know, I think this is potentially a bad trade because I felt like it needed to retest the high. So it did. It did exactly what I thought. It retested the high, took me out, and then went ahead and worked. But I was able to take advantage at least on two other accounts for the rest of the move. Yeah, Halo Racer says, looks like you have another PA lined up. That is good. Yeah, so got that done today. That was on trade 2 today. So yeah, it definitely took the sting out of the loss on PA2 to get that win here. And then, I mean, I really consider PA7, which is the trade I'm considering taking next, or the account I'm considering taking my next trade on. I really consider this basically a dead account because it's, what I say, $320 away from the liquidation. So, I mean, the chances of me pulling it back, I'm trading at one contract at a time now. So the chances of me bringing this account back is just like really small. So this one's basically probably a goner. I've already accepted that if that's what happens. And then PA6, yeah, still have a chance. I'm like, I got $1,000 basically, a little under $1,000. So it's just far away from a payout. And then adding this this new 50K PA will be nice. It'll be great because that way, no matter what happens, I'll still have 3 PAs. And if I have any luck at all, maybe I'll bring this account back a little bit and I'll have 4 PAs. And in the meantime, I've got a couple others that are halfway there. So I decided I'm going to stop trading 25Ks. So no more new 25K evaluations after this one. And so this will be the last one I play out. I'll either blow it up and cancel it, or I'll pass it and accept a PA on it. But I think the 50Ks is where it's at. For me anyway, and my style of trading. And all right, so this looks like it's, I might be willing to take an entry long up here because it satisfied the 2 legs down. So I think maybe I could be looking at this. So even though the signal bar is technically this red bar next to it, if it comes back up and triggers above, I think I would take that. So this will be on PA7 as well as evaluation 35. But if this doesn't get above the closing price, then I will not take this. So I'm going to watch this closely here. Yeah, Halo Racer says 50K is a better choice. He's out, going to go blind himself. Take it easy. All right, Halo Racer, thanks for coming by. Good luck with the eclipse. Hope it's a good time and hope your classes work. All right, if this doesn't make it above the previous day close, then I'm going to cancel this order. All right, of course it's going to keep it to like, it's going to be like right at the end of the candle to see where this thing closes. I hope it makes it easy for me to cancel if it's going to close below. It seems like this is going to be an easy decision to cancel. Yeah. All right, so this will, this is like, you know, the wick is just barely above the previous day close. So I've seen times where this works because the entry is actually above the previous day close, but I'm not going to risk it. It's too close of a call. I much prefer when I see a candle close above it, and then it gives me a very clear decision to make. All right, so I'm really basically at this point just waiting to see if this triggers above it. I'm curious to see if it would trigger, if it'll work. I mean, I honestly feel like if it does trigger above here, it will work, but I don't know that I want to put any of my accounts at risk for it because it's kind of against my rules at this point. All right, so it's just feeling like my original analysis was that when it didn't make the measured move to this, meant that we're going to go and retest the bottom, the low of the day. And it seems like that's what the market's trying to do. It looks like a head and shoulders pattern, and it looks like it's dropping through the bottom, which is typically how those work. If the neckline doesn't hold, then it typically goes further, although usually it's the measure of the neckline, I think. So I don't trade that, but All right, so definitely here, if a long triggers on a second entry, my rules keep me out of this trade no matter what. So not an entry I can consider taking. Wouldn't be surprised if it worked, wouldn't be surprised if it failed, just not an entry I can take. So I'm just going to wait and see if it does work. I mean, there's technically just enough room to the previous day close for it to work for my scalp, but these are just areas where when it's this close, a lot of times it will fail. So I will not take the trade. All right, just like that, it already would have worked. So I'm still watching this. I mean, if I literally technically have room to my scalp, then maybe I can take these trades on these charts because this chart still hasn't taken a loss all day. But in my experience, this is just like an area where like it doesn't even have to like technically bounce right off of that. I mean, look, it went directly. This blue line is where my scalp target was, bounced directly off of the previous day close. So just because that's there and my profit target is slightly below it doesn't mean it has to actually hit it before it gets rejected. Like it could reject early, I've seen, and not get to my profit target like it did this time. So I don't feel bad about skipping that. So that's really going to be my day. I'm going to call it here. I'm on way later than I usually trade till. And that was just because I had to take my daughter to school earlier today. So I missed a good, I don't know, 40-ish, maybe a half hour, 40 minutes of trading. So I just thought I'd give myself a chance to see if I could get anything else. But really, it was just the 3 trades before I stopped earlier. The one loss I've talked about, and then the 2 wins. So let's see, maybe I'll do it like this. So I think that's really it. Not a bad day. Not the best day since I took the loss on the PA account, but not a bad day. Picking up a new PA, and yeah, just gonna give Apex a little bit more money, pay for this fee, and my dreams of being exactly break even are over. I'll still be in debt to Apex even after a full max payout, but I'll be as close to break even as you can be pretty much at that point. So just about. So, all right, 2-1 for the day, starting off the week, 2-1, 67%, 165 wins and 41 losses overall for the year, 80%. 80% discount still running. Use this code or any other you have. Just make sure you use the code. Discount is running till April 30th, so the last day of the month, and the 1-day pass as well, all the way till April 30th. And I think it's half price resets, if I remember correctly. Anyway, for any information about Apex, you can click on my link below in the description and find any information you are looking for there. And you can use this code if you decide to buy an evaluation. It's always, all these codes that anyone has is always for the best discount being offered at any time. So it doesn't matter which one you use, just make sure you use one. And other than that, I think I've said it all. I'm going to record my review video, so come back and check that out if you will. Hopefully I'll have something interesting to say. And other than that, I'll be back at it tomorrow. All right, have a good one.